Good morning. Welcome back to Conversations at the Corner. Welcome to episode 60. Today is March 11th. Pastor Nathan and I are back and better than ever, and we have a very, very special guest for you today in a very special episode. However, before we begin with that, let me just run a couple of good reminders by you very quickly. Don't forget Easter's coming up on April the 5th. Friend Day is on March 22nd, so be inviting for that. And then don't forget this coming Sunday, the Kentucky Mountain Bible School Choir will be here with us in both services, so we want to make sure to remind you about that, invite some friends to that as well. What a great way for your friends to hear the gospel in a different way, and the kids from KMBC will do an amazing job. Pastor Nathan, good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. We've got a lot to get to today, but we want to jump back into our bracket. So we set the bracket last week, the Emmanuel Wesleyan Church Classic Cartoon Bracket. We bracketed the top 16 cartoons that we thought really from our kind of growing up in childhood. So today we start knocking them down. So Pastor Nathan, let's do like we did last time. Why don't you take the left side, just review the matchups, and then why don't you say who the winner was? And then if you want to talk about who you picked too, we'll do that as well. Okay. Or we can do our picks first and then just go on the bracket, whatever.
Let's just kind of dive in here. So if you remember last week, we're looking at the left side of the bracket, and the first matchup was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus the Littles. To no one's surprise at all, I think, listening here, the Littles lost big time. The Littles, I'll just give you a little tidbit here. The Littles received one vote.
Would you like to know who that was?
You can reveal it.
It was me. Yeah, I voted for the Littles.
It was Pastor Matt. Yeah, he voted for the Littles. I did not. I grew up with Ninja Turtles. I really loved it. It's really probably one of my top cartoons. I had the videotapes. I had the action figures. My kids like them now.
Who was your favorite Ninja Turtle?
It was Donatello.
Okay.
Not the normal pick. He's like the science nerdy guy. But yeah.
Is he the one who has the purple?
He's purple.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a big Ninja Turtle fan, but I watched him a little bit, and he was my favorite too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's round one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will go on to the next.
So you picked Ninja Turtles
I
too,
picked
right?
Ninja
Okay.
Turtles,
Obviously, I picked the Littles, but that's fine. All right. What's the next one?
Okay. The next matchup was between Scooby-Doo and Batman, the Animated Series. This one, Scooby-Doo took it pretty handily. Now, I will say for me, I voted for Batman, the Animated Series. If you were listening last week, you will remember that this was a big show for me when I was in middle school. And I have a little story about this. I'm just going to pause and tell it because I think it's fun.
All right.
So I would get home from school every day, I think at like 3:15 or not 3:45, something like that. So I get home, I settle everything down, and Batman the Animated Series comes on at 4:00.
Okay.
And so it's like a ritual for me. I'm going to watch this show every single day, and that's what I did. Well, one day I came home, and my mom says, "Nathan, get all this stuff ready. Go. We're going to go take like Christmas photos. You got to get dressed. Get a nice sweater. You and your sister are going to go. We're going to JCPenney." I was not happy. I had to miss
this story has come up at another time in our. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, have I told it in Conversations at the Corner?
Is this the one where like they took the picture of you? And we saw the picture. Your mom sent it.
Yeah. So I went begrudgingly, and I did not smile. My sister, who was 6 years younger than me, she has just this great toothy grin of she might have been 6 or 7 at the time. Just great, wonderful toothy grin, and I'm scowling. But we hung that up in our hallway for years.
Yeah. And why were you scowling?
Because I missed Batman the Animated Series, and my mom didn't tell me.
Oh, that's
could have scheduled it for 5 o'clock instead of 4:30 or whatever she did.
Well, I voted with our people, and I voted Scooby-Doo. So yeah.
I voted Batman, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. The next matchup here is Flintstones versus the Gummy Bears. And
I'm so disappointed in people.
Yeah. Well, nobody knows what this show is, so that's why it lost.
That's not true.
So Flintstones won, again, pretty handily. Pastor Matt had picked Gummy Bears. Gummy Bears did receive 11 total votes.
Yeah.
So
me and 10 other people are smart out there.
Yeah. Well, you guys might find each other and join a club or something, I guess. But Yeah, Flintstones won. I voted for Flintstones. I don't love it, but I like it, and I grew up with it.
Yep.
And I don't know anything about gummy bears, so that's why I voted that way.
Okay.
All right, the final matchup on the left side is Alvin and the Chipmunks versus Tom and Jerry. And Tom and Jerry won. Not like incredibly, but they did win. And Alvin and the Chipmunks was my pick. I just think I don't know. I watched more of it.
Yeah, I will tell you that to me this was the toughest one.
Okay.
Now I picked Tom and Jerry, and it didn't take me too long, but I really like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah.
But I think Tom and Jerry is such a classic. We still watch Saturday morning cartoons on Saturday in our house, and Tom and Jerry comes on at 7:30, and I always enjoy watching Tom and Jerry. Okay. So I do like Alvin and the Chipmunks, but I went with our people, and I picked Tom and Jerry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do we have on the right side of the bracket?
So on the right side, we have DuckTales versus Pokemon, and this is just a kick in the gut to me. I just don't understand this whatsoever. But according to our people, Pokemon slipped by DuckTales by 6 votes, and that's pretty significant upset because we had seeded DuckTales number 1. Apparently, that was a bad seeding on my part, but DuckTales is my favorite cartoon of all time. Mm-hmm. So obviously, I had them going farther than the first round, but Pokemon defeated them according to the people of Emmanuel Wesleyan Church. Second one, you want to add anything to that, or?
Not a lot. I didn't grow up with Pokemon, so DuckTales is what I voted for as well. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think the people are wrong, but that's okay.
I think so too. The altars will be open on Sunday, so you can come to event. All right, Looney Tunes versus He-Man. This was a bloodbath. Looney Tunes destroyed He-Man. It wasn't even close. I picked Looney Tunes.
Yeah, He-Man got the 5 votes, so that's the second lowest total.
Yeah, next to the Littles.
Next to the Littles.
All right, and then Jetsons and Inspector Gadget. I picked Inspector Gadget. To me, it was a pretty close call. I watched both of them some, but not a lot. Pastor Nathan, who did you pick in that?
I went with Jetsons.
Okay.
And that one was kind of a really close one, too. I like both of those a lot.
Yep.
I don't know. It was kind of a coin flip.
Yep. So I picked Inspector Gadget. You picked the Jetsons. Our people picked the Jetsons. Mm-hmm. So and the Jetsons won pretty handily. The next one also was a major disappointment for me. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers versus Transformers. I picked Chip 'n Dale. Transformers narrowly won, but the Transformers moves on. Who'd you have in that?
So I picked Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers as well, but I do want to make a note on this.
Yeah.
For me, when I was compiling the list, when we were kind of putting everything together, I chose Transformers. I didn't actually watch a lot of Transformers growing up, but I did watch a show called Voltron.
Okay.
And Voltron was very similar to Transformers.
Okay.
I didn't put Voltron on here because I knew that not a lot of people did watch it.
Yeah.
But if we had put Voltron on here, that's what I would have picked.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Not that anybody cares about all that.
Yeah. No, we do. All right. So just to set the table for next week, here are the matchups for next week.
Yep.
Ninja Turtles versus Scooby-Doo. Flintstones versus Tom and Jerry, Pokemon versus Looney Tunes, Jetsons versus Transformers. Pastor Nathan and I both predicted that Looney Tunes would win, so we'll see who comes out on top. But join us next week. That we'll be jumping back into the bracket at that point next Wednesday. Yep. This morning, we are going to jump back on our topic of culture and Christianity. Mm-hmm. And we're going to, last week we talked about gambling. And so this week, let's talk about alcohol.
Okay.
And one of the really cool things about this week is that we have a guest with us. Scott Blake is with us. Scott is a man that I've known for a couple of years now. Probably several years. He is not a part of our church on a regular basis, but he has been to our church several times. Many of his family are part of our church. His mom goes to our church. Judy Brown is his mom. His aunt goes to our church. He's got several cousins that go to our church. And so Scott is a pseudo part of Emmanuel Wesleyan Church.
Honorary member.
Honorary member. That's right. That's right. But he's a man that loves the Lord. I love him. He is a great man of God. And he has a great testimony, a great story about his journey with alcohol and what the Lord did for him. And he actually shared it on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. I read it, and when I read it, I came to you and I said, hey, we've got to have this guy on the podcast. And you were very obviously open to doing that. And so, Scott, welcome to Conversations at the Corner.
Yeah, glad to have you here.
Thank you.
We're glad we're glad to have you here. And we're going to talk a little bit about alcohol today. And so, but we want to hear your story. And so I think very quickly we can just say that alcohol is a big part of our culture.
Yes.
Lots of people drink alcohol, and there's lots of people within the church that drink alcohol.
Yes.
There are different denominations that have taken different stances on that over the years.
Yep.
For a number of years, you had to agree to abstain from alcohol to be a member of the Wesleyan Church. We wouldn't even allow you to drink and be a member. That has shifted. I don't know if that's a good thing, to where you can now be a member and drink alcohol. However, you cannot serve in leadership and drink alcohol. So that's where our denomination currently stands on that. I have my own opinions of it. We can talk about our own opinions later. The Bible speaks of alcohol in the fact of do not get drunk.
Right.
So it doesn't say avoid alcohol at all costs.
Yes.
I wish it did. It does not. But it says don't get drunk. So if you're looking at it biblically, according to the Word of God, a Christian can partake in alcohol, but the line is drunkenness. That's not okay. So Scott, why don't you tell us about your journey, kind of where you were, where the Lord brought you to, and then kind of now looking at this issue of alcohol after your past and where you are now, kind of where you land on this subject now. So just tell us your story.
Well, it's long, it's complicated. A lot of trauma in my life that led me into, I guess, the alcohol abuse. It wasn't something I did every day. It was something that just had control over me, complete control over me. At times to the point that, I would put it over my relationships, my family. It just led to one poor choice after another, which ultimately destroyed so many things in my life. So, I guess just starting off, I can give you a little bit of history of what happened in my life. Just at a young age, my mom and dad had divorced. I was 5, and wasn't long after that, a couple years, Mom moved to California. Dad had custody of us, and so I was dealing with some abandonment issues and so forth, and just I guess I didn't recognize it. As a kid, you don't, you just deal with sadness and stuff and try to cope. And then when I was 15, my dad and I and 2 of my cousins were fishing on the James River, and he drowned there with me. Okay. So I tried to save him, wasn't able to. Cousin saved my life, and just after that, it was just angry at God. I was dealing with a lot of just sadness, anger that I just didn't know how to cope with. And I think at that point, I was young when I started drinking. 15 years old, 16 years old. Okay. Had people buying it for us, older people. And it started at that point, and just experimenting with it. And then it never agreed to me. I should have listened to my body at that point. And I think I solidly believe that's God trying to say, hey, don't mess with it. So, I'd get sick and just keep pushing, and it got to the point where just tolerance. And then as I got older, Mom moved back. It was right after Dad had passed, and moved in with her. And of course, I was rebelling at that age and didn't want to stay there. So my grandmother, my dad had left the house to me and my sister and my grandmother, his mom, and she ended up having some medical issues. She had blood clots and stuff, and had lost her leg. And she ended up needing some help and went over there to live with her to help out. But she ended up in rehab, and I was by myself my last 2 years of high school, which was a complete disaster.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and having no real parental, my mom was always there for me. At that point, she hadn't surrendered to God, so there was she did in the early 90s. And so, it was...
Is it August 4th, 1990?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I've heard that story.
And then that's when the change happened in the entire family. So,
okay.
But and at that point, I was still rebelling. Like I said, living there by myself. I wasn't going to school like I should. I was dragging all my friends down, and just continually. It's like every weekend I would work. I worked all the time. I started working by the time I was 15. And so every bit of money I had, I would go out on the weekends and just blow it on alcohol and drinking, partying with friends. And it was just ridiculous, and it extended all the way up to the point to where eventually we sold the house. My grandmother went into a retirement community, and I moved to Radford to party because it was the biggest party school, and a lot of my friends were accepted there, so we just moved up there.
Okay. Now, did you go to Radford?
I did not. So my intention was to go up there to go to school, at least try to go to community college, and then move into Radford. And it just, I got so caught up into the partying.
Okay.
And at that point, I'd met my first wife there, and she, she was going to school there. So we, I toned it down a little bit, but it was on the weekends, and then making those choices, even though it was something she didn't agree with. Mm-hmm. And whenever you're putting alcohol over your family, mm-hmm. You've got a problem, even though it makes them upset, you just, you shouldn't be doing this. And I was under conviction the whole time. I've been in church my entire life, and grandparents are super strong Christians, the rest of my family, always. But it was just the point that I don't know. I just rebelled completely. I think it's just being angry at God. I was really mad when Dad died. So
yeah, and to watch that happen.
Yeah, just to be there.
In front of you.
Yeah, it's trauma. And I did a lot of counseling. Mom had sent me to counseling for anger management and so forth. But it's just something deep seated in you. When something like that happens. It's trauma, PTSD. Definitely. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, that's just how it started, and it just progressed, and it continued on even, all the way up through just my adult life. I mean, I'd never had alcohol in the house, but it was still a struggle because I would want to go out, and I would want to party with my friends, and just, I guess it was just drown in pain.
Yeah.
That was just unresolved, and, and I continued to make those poor choices to the point where I'm out, and I'm drinking, fighting. I mean, it was every weekend thing, and just not considerate of anybody else's feelings.
Yeah. When you were in that state, were you wanting to not drink, or were you so far into it that you didn't even care?
Well, it was, I don't know. It was more of just needing to escape, I guess, from life or whatever it was I was running from, and like I said, just mad.
And I think that's the thing about most addiction is that it's either an escape or a cover-up, whatever the source of addiction is,
right,
to mask a deeper issue, a deeper pain.
Yeah, and I think, too, with a lot of addictions, but you could speak more specifically to what you went through, I think a lot of times when you're not in the middle of participating in the thing, whatever it is, whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever it might be, in your head, this is not good.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can say that to yourself and say, I want to quit. But then when you get to a point where you have access or you're ready to go party or whatever, then that kind of goes away. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like the access thing. I mean, I don't know how many times I'd gone to like a work party or something like that where alcohol was involved, and to the point that you just, I couldn't stop. Yeah. I mean, that was the problem. I mean, I take one drink and it was over. I mean, I might as well just. I've been blacked out. I don't know how many times, and drove home. I mean, just terrible decisions. Yeah. Without thinking of any of the consequences.
Yeah. So. Would you say that you're lucky to be alive?
Oh, absolutely! By the grace of God, I'm alive. I mean, because there's situations. I don't want to go too far into the stuff, but I mean, I had been arrested for it numerous times. I had been shot at. I've been knives pulled on me, bar fights, and to the point. I mean, the fights were just ridiculous amount of fights.
And the common denominator in all of that was
alcohol. Yeah, absolutely destroys your life. I mean, your witness, everything. I mean,
take me through. And I could pull it up, but you could just tell it much better. That post you put on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, about alcohol. Recap that for me, because that was so captivating to me. Talk to me about just kind of that post and what kind of some of the things you talked about.
I put it up, it's just kind of sharing my testimony. God put it on me a long time ago. It's probably since I feel truly saved, just to start sharing things, putting it out there and just to help other people, anybody that might be able to see it. And, I was just thinking about it. I don't know, something triggered, just conversation or whatever it was. And, I've been sober for 12 years and I just didn't think about that. I hadn't had a drink in 12 years. Hadn't had a desire to drink. Since, I was saved. I think true surrender, you know what I mean? Just giving your life over to Christ and just allowing God to move in your life. And the desires were just gone completely. And I think it's what struck me is thinking about how God, his grace in my life truly transformed me, my desires, everything. So
take us to that point where like you were kind of at, we'll call it your lowest. I don't know if it was your lowest, but we'll call it your lowest.
Yeah.
Where you were at in life in this addiction to alcohol and how God got a hold of you, pulled you out of that and where you are today.
The way I see it is I think God is always moving in your life. You don't see it usually while you're going through it, but you can always look back and see the hand of God moving in your life. And at that point, my ex-wife and I had got divorced, because of just problems stemming from things like this. I was an elder in the Presbyterian church at that time, and, I couldn't keep these things under control, and it led to a lot of issues that led to a divorce. And, I moved from West Virginia back home and, back to Virginia. And at the same time that I moved back, my stepdad, Robert, developed cancer, brain cancer, which was terminal, and Mom had a stroke.
Okay.
So and I moved in there with them to help them. And, like I said, you see God's hand moving, the situation. I didn't want to go through a divorce. I didn't necessarily want to move away from my kids in West Virginia, but I needed stability that was here to rebuild my life.
Yeah.
And at that time is when that happened. And then mortality, I'd already lost a brother to cancer. It was at that time, it's been now, he was 31 years old. I was 30 at the time. So he had passed in 2001. And so just started just looking at mortality. And then I met Christy, my current wife, and she had kept inviting me to church with her. So I started going to Bedrock with her, and just one thing led to another, and it's just like just sermons on it, and it just led me to salvation. I feel like true salvation that eliminated all these desires.
Yeah,
I started living my life for the Lord and just sharing and trying to lead people anywhere I could. So
yeah, when you got to that place of surrendering to the Lord, was it the type of thing that you got up from either the altar or your bed or wherever this took place, and where you didn't touch it after that because he took it away instantly?
Absolutely, it was instant. Okay. Yeah, it was. Okay. There was no desire for it whatsoever. Before, like I said, I never drank at home. Some people are like, well, you're not really an alcoholic, but whenever something like that masters you, that controls you to that point that you're making such horrible decisions, even when you do it, you've got a problem, and it is alcoholism. It was to the point that, looking at that, I was at church, and it just Holy Spirit just came over me. I'd been saved before early 90s, and I just, for whatever reason it was, I just continued to rebel and just didn't surrender fully at that point. I always had conviction. Because I can remember, I can't count the amount of times that I would just be laying in bed the next day after blacked out drunk, just praying to God, like, please just take this away from me, Lord. Just somehow, some way, just get rid of this desire. I don't want it anymore, and it just, God's timing is perfect. So
yeah.
It happens all when it's supposed to happen. So
when you got saved, he took away that desire in that moment.
In that moment,
And
absolutely.
you haven't had another drink since.
Not a drink since.
And not a desire to drink.
No drink. No desire to drink. Yeah. Nothing.
So even like if you're around people that they're drinking, there is
absolutely.
no temptation, no desire.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's, a lot of my friends, I mean, they were wild people too. They like to party. And I've had lots of invitations to events and so forth. And my wife was always a little nervous. She's like, you do want to be around it?
Yeah.
I'm like, I love these guys. And I would like to really try to lead them out of this lifestyle. If I can be that example and they can see me there and not touch it.
Yeah.
Even though it's all around me. I try not to put myself in that situation too much.
Right.
And I do know I won't touch it again, but I remember one birthday party a buddy of mine invited me to, and so I went to go and hanging out with him and stuff, and he kept coming over, wanting me to have a drink with him. I'm like, I'm sorry, man, it's not me anymore. I'm convicted. This is my life now.
Yeah.
I don't want alcohol. Living for the Lord, and pretty much the rest of the night. I mean, it's one of my best friends, roommate with this guy up in Radford for years, and haven't heard much from him since.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had the opportunity? I know you've had the opportunity, but have you seen any of like the old party crowd give it up as well and come to the Lord?
Not really.
Okay.
Not that I've dealt with. I mean, and I witnessed to these guys a good bit, and I talked to them pretty regular, not as regular as I used to, because I lost a lot of friends in that process. So, and I know I still care about these guys, and I know they care about me.
Yeah.
But and I know it's reaching some of them because, like I said, I try to share my faith on Facebook a lot, and I've had some of these guys message me, asking for prayer, or reading a post they'll send me. I saw what you put up, another one that's really struggling, asking me to pray for him. Mm-hmm. And so I know it's reaching some of these guys. So,
tell me about the difference that Jesus has made in your life since you came to him fully and gave up that lifestyle. Tell me about the difference in Scott then versus Scott now.
I'm not angry like I used to be.
Okay.
I mean,
which was probably the root of the alcohol.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I acknowledge that, and that's what people see in me too, is that change in behavior. Because I've been an angry person for a long time, and everybody sees the outside appearance. When I'm out and about, most people don't notice some of that, but the people that really know me know how volatile I could be at those times, and even in life in general before that. And, I mean, my kids always tell me how much I've changed, and, the way I interact with them. I mean, I've always been great with my kids, but there was some situations where, I was just mad and I would just lash out.
Yeah.
A lot of that lashing out. I mean, like a lot of the stuff is just gone. My relationship with my wife is like 10 times, 100 times better than what it was, So, I mean, we really struggled in the beginning because I still was letting some of that control me, and that anger was still coming out. But I'm telling you, once a life changed, man, by grace of God. I mean, it is. It's hard to believe sometimes how much God can change your life, and if you just let him have that control. Yeah. And you surrender fully.
Was that a hard place for you to get to?
It was, yeah. I mean, because it was. I mean, I'm 54 years old, so here I was in my 40s, still dealing with all that, and it was tough, but not really. I mean, but once you did, I mean, I just didn't think it was possible for your life to change drastically like that. Almost, I mean, within an instant.
Like we could say that. I mean, we talk about people coming to Jesus and people changing, and then there's then there are people that are like truly transformed. We should all be transformed.
Yes.
But some people, like, the transformation is mild because they didn't have a struggle like that.
Right.
Or any kind of major struggles where people that were obvious, but their life is still transformed because of Jesus. And then you have people that like had a major issue that they were dealing with, a major sin, and that transformation is pretty radical.
It is radical, and
from the inside out. It starts inside.
It is inside.
And
right. Because it's, years of just begging God to take things from your life,
Mm-hmm.
and but it wasn't, it wasn't. I was asking for, I guess, relief from it. You know what I mean? But I wasn't surrendering.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. You bow your knee, you surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Then the changes happen.
Yeah,
but it has to be internally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think there's, when you're addicted to something, there's probably a kind of tension where you want to get out of it, but you don't want to get out of it at the same time. And that's what you have to wrestle with. And I think that's why for some people, like you had a pretty instantaneous change,
yes.
It sounds like. But there are other people who may have to wrestle with that tension with the Lord and maybe some type of counseling or some type of program or
absolutely.
something like that. Mm-hmm. And those things can help them too. Because I know even with me, like, do I want to eat a piece of cake? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like even something simple like that. There's this mental, I know I don't want to,
right.
But I do want to at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's, it is an addiction of any sort. Whatever it may be. It's giving it over, asking, the Lord to take some of these things away from you. But it's not everybody's story. Everybody. There are a lot of. I pray that people out there, anybody that hears this, if you could surround yourself with people that will help you and inspire you to keep away from these things that, that are driving your addictions, and just get the help you need. Because there's so many opportunities that people can get counseling for, to help them with it, whatever it needs to be. You may not come to it instantaneously like I did, but at least surround yourself and seek the help that you need to get it under control. So don't let it control you. You control it.
So when you came to the Lord, He took that desire away. You've not had a drink in 12 years. 12 years.
12 years. Yeah.
Okay, no desire for that stuff.
No.
Literally everything in your life has changed. The driving force of your alcohol use was anger. That is gone.
Yeah.
Been released.
Right.
Any other major changes in your life?
It's funny. You don't think about music, but it's like with that, I was a big metalhead.
Were you?
So yeah, I loved all that stuff, but I can't listen to it, and things like that. You just don't want to put in your mind. And
yeah. So what do you listen to now?
Well, it's kind of funny. I started messing around with that Suno, like making music on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've just been coming up with my own songs and that nature, but they're all glorifying God. Okay. My wife laughs at me because I'm listening to it all. She's like, "You just listening to your own songs." And I'm like, well, I like contemporary Christian music. I love it, but I just wanted something different, a little harder that I like. And, and so making these songs, and she's like, "It's kind of weird." And I'm like, well, I'm weird, but it's like, you still love me, right?
Oh, that's.
But cool. Like that. I take for instance, she ended up buying me tickets. It was right after I was saved to. I don't know if you know Perfect Circle. It was.
Oh yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah, and some of the songs, lead singer, is for Tool as well, and so I like both groups. And she bought me the tickets, over $300 some tickets, and I was like, I can't go. I know it's a lot of money for tickets. And she was, "What do you mean you can't go?" I said, "We can't go." I said, I can't go to this concert. I'm sorry. I'm convicted. I don't feel I should be listening to it. We just didn't go.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to give them to somebody, and then I was like, well.
What was the group?
A Perfect Circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just didn't go. I just felt like I shouldn't go to this concert.
Okay. So even what you listened to?
Yeah. A lot of that changed too. Okay. Is that and just my behavior in general. Things are different. So.
Yeah.
If you were going to give some advice to somebody who maybe is struggling with alcohol, or maybe they're not struggling with alcohol, but maybe they are, they drink occasionally, responsible with it. As somebody who has struggled with it, seen the evil associated with it, what is your view? Obviously, we already said the Bible doesn't say specifically don't do this.
Right.
It says don't be a stumbling block to others.
Yeah.
We could talk about the difference in a saved life and a holy life, being set apart, being different. We could talk about that. As somebody who has come out of what you have come out of and where you are now, what would your advice or counsel be to Christians with in regards to the use of alcohol?
I would love to just say abstain, but I know they're not going to do that. So I mean, I deal with family members that are like that as well. And
why would you say abstain? You think it's just too slippery of a slope?
it is too slippery of a slope. In my opinion, in my experience, it is, and just in the life of everybody that I grew up with. I mean, absolutely, every single one of them. Anybody that I've known that partakes in alcohol always slides down that slope at one point or another. So I would say abstain, but that's not reality.
But it could be.
It could be, yeah. But it's just examine it. I mean, if you look at what you're doing, or what you're going against, or what it's destroying in your life, like if you notice that your significant other doesn't enjoy you doing this, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Because they're probably seeing the side of you that maybe you're not paying attention to. If it's making you make poor choices.
Yeah.
If you're getting in trouble for this, or you find yourself doing it more often than not, then you should probably examine yourself. I mean, because it'll steal your soul. I mean, especially if you're a Christian. I mean, think about your testimony. I mean, if you're out somewhere and somebody sees you at the bar drinking, yucking it up, stuff. I mean, and then I don't know. It almost comes across hypocritical, but it's the way I felt about myself, at least. As a Christian, I would always say when I was younger I was a Christian, but for goodness sakes, if I was out there trying to lead somebody to Christ and I'm drunk as a skunk every weekend,
Yes.
What is that? How is somebody going to perceive that?
Raises some questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, Scott, thanks for sharing. I know that it takes vulnerability and courage to kind of dive back into that and share that. But I know that you were, of course, I asked you if you were willing to, and you said yes.
Oh yeah, I'm always willing. I'm always been an open book. It's like people think it's strange, but it's like Mom has always told me that too. It's like your past experiences are your experiences for a reason. Yeah. And God's going to use those to help you lead somebody to Christ and, to change their life. And that's just my hope and my prayer.
And we're going to get that post that you did on Facebook, and we're going to post it with this episode under the comments section on our Facebook page so that people can see what you wrote that kind of spurred on this conversation. Right. Pastor Nathan, I think you wanted to say something.
So one of the things I was really thinking about as you were talking, I don't necessarily mean to extend the discussion here,
okay.
But one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking here in just that last little bit is I was wondering about how the environment of alcohol use affects things. And here's what I mean by that. So I grew up in kind of dual environments. So my mom and dad had divorced. And so on my mom's side, we were all very good Wesleyans, and we did not partake. My dad's actually a Jehovah's Witness, and the Jehovah's Witnesses take a stance that's more like you can drink, but you don't get drunk.
Yeah.
So when I would go over to my dad's house, I would see alcohol use that was, I think, responsible. Nobody was getting drunk. It would be like, oh, in the evening I have a beer or whatever, and I didn't really see drunkenness or abuse come out of it or anything like that. So I saw those kind of like twin things going on at the same time. And so those environments to me, or even my dad's environment, is different from like a party environment.
Right.
Where everybody's getting together and the whole point is to get drunk and let's go. That's not what I was seeing. So I wonder too if some of it is like you're combining, like you have a trauma or you have these things that happen in your life and you need some escape. Right. So alcohol provides that. And there's any number of other addictions that you could get to that would provide that as well. But you're combining that with kind of like these environmental factors, like, I'm going to go out and party. Right. That's my thing. Yeah. So I wonder, just thinking about alcohol, I'm a Wesleyan minister, so I don't drink. But in my 20s and early 30s, when I wasn't in the Wesleyan church, I would drink occasionally. I think some of that came out of the modeling on my dad's side. And I didn't really ever go to a party. Yeah. So I wonder if that's a factor too. And I agree, it can be a slippery slope. I'm not trying to counter what you're saying. I wonder if that's a factor that people should think about.
It is. I mean, I didn't go into the fact just as a child when my mom had first started going out with Robert, my stepdad, and he was an alcoholic. I mean, and it was an alcohol at home, and he was the one that would go out to drink after work or whatever, and come home drunk, and it was a Jekyll and Hyde situation, much like I was. I'm surprised I ever took up or even touched alcohol in that situation because he was very abusive. I mean, physically, mentally, verbally, and seeing that in that environment, no one else in my family had drank. Either side, except for my stepdad and his family, but it was like I said, I don't know if it was just a subconscious thing or seeing or being around that, that maybe I thought as I got older it was okay, but just seeing him lose the control like that, it just really surprised me that me or any of my siblings ever touched alcohol, so.
I didn't, I'll tell a funny story. We'll get a little levity here. My first encounter with alcohol was a strange one. One day I was at my dad's, and he was in the basement, and they had like this desk, and I think he was like doing his taxes or something. And he had a glass on the desk next to him, and it was clear liquid.
Yeah.
I went down there. I'm like, hey, Dad, what's up? I thought it was water. And I just picked it up and just took a massive swig. And it was straight vodka is what it was. And so I was just like, whoa, what is this? He's like, oh, it's not water.
How old were you?
I would have been, I'm trying to place that house.
7 or 8?
No, it was later than that. Maybe 12. Something like that. That really put me off of it for a long time. And he let me taste beer, and I thought it was gross. So that put me off of it for a long time too. That's just more of like a funny story. Like I don't know. That was my experience with it.
Yeah.
Take a big gulp of vodka.
But that goes back to like what you were saying earlier. It disagreed with your body.
Oh yeah. You
didn't even really like it. Yeah. But you were still using it.
I would get sick. I mean, I don't even know how long. I mean, several years. Like, and I was like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, I was going to ask if you ever thought like, this is nuts. Why do I keep doing this?
Yeah, and I'm like, what in the world is my problem? Why can I not? I mean, that's just the addictive nature of it too. To the point that you're pushing yourself through physical illness.
Yeah.
And still trying to consume it, and then eventually you just build a tolerance. It still makes you sick, in the end of the evening, over the overconsumption. But the point that your body is just telling you no.
There's a pastor that I know that has done an extensive amount of marriage counseling over the years, and he told me, he said, every single time that I've dealt with a couple that there's been an affair, every single time alcohol was involved.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a very dangerous thing.
It is.
Some would say, and I don't know that I disagree, some would say that it may even be an evil thing.
I believe it is evil. I mean, like I said, that's my stance on it.
Yep.
Just knowing what it's done to my life and the things it made me do under the influence. I mean, I felt like like a spirit controlling you,
Yeah.
I often wonder why they call it spirits,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you feel like you're not in the driver. You're not in the driver's seat.
We need to be under control of one spirit.
Yes,
and that is
right.
the Holy Spirit. That's right. That's right. Anything else that you want to add, Pastor Nathan? Anything else? We've gone a little long in this.
Good conversation, though.
Okay. Thank you guys.
I'm glad to hear from you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Scott, thanks again for your willingness to come in and share. And I would just say to our listeners, first of all, if you're struggling with alcohol, the Bible is very clear on that, on what is not allowed. So that would be my first encouragement or word to you. Second of all, if you're using alcohol some and you're struggling with should I or should I not, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody that you have respect for and confidence in. Talk to somebody who's lived a life and been through it. Especially if you're feeling convicted in your spirit. If you're not feeling convicted in your spirit, I don't know what to tell you. But if you are feeling convicted, find somebody to talk to. Just for what it's worth, I don't think that we as believers should use alcohol in any way, shape, or form. That's my opinion. It's not entirely biblical. We've talked about the biblical stance, but I also go back to the life of holiness, being set apart. I go back to not causing people to stumble, and I go back to, I think it was Paul that said something about everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial, or something to that nature. So I want to encourage our people to be very careful with this, and really to seek the Lord. And if the Lord says stop it, then you got to stop it. Anything else, guys, from either one of you?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in. Let's pray. Scott, I'm going to ask you to pray for our listeners, and maybe especially for those who are kind of find themselves in this battle with this thing. Okay.
Right. Thank you, God, just for all that you do for us, Lord, and your grace and mercy on our lives, Lord. If anybody out there is struggling, I just pray that they seek help that they need through counseling, through programs designed to just help them move through this phase that's destroying their life, that's controlling them. Lord, I just pray that you allow them to not be mastered by this. The struggle is just allowing the Lord, just allow the Lord to take over out here. I'm sorry. Just God, just be with just anybody hearing my voice, Lord. Just be with them, Lord. Just help them through this, guide them through this. Just seek the help that they need, Lord, to get through it. And I just pray that just look at your life. If it's destroying your life, if it's causing issues, you're seeing problems, seek help. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us,
thank you.
Scott. Thank you very much. To our listeners, thanks for joining us. We will see you next week, same time, same channel. Keep rolling, Emmanuel.